Greetings, Manna 3301 onliners, and welcome to the second week of the summer session of 2016. I'm your professor, Dan Dalton, and it's my pleasure to work with you throughout this summer. These videos will come roughly every week and will pretty well focus on some general discussions or comments from me about the content of the discussion board from the previous week. In session 1, you were asked to give your impression of what you feel was the characteristics of a good manager. And beyond the leading and organizing and the other aspects that were pointed out in chapter 1, I wanted to add some comments myself of what I think a good manager is all about. To me, the traits of a good manager is someone who basically builds relationships. In fact, I recently saw a paper from a guy by the name of Robert Hall who espouses that managers have gotten lazy, that they oftentimes, leadership as a whole has gotten to the point where they'll pass up long-term quality growth and the building of relationships for a short-term gain, and I couldn't agree more. And you don't need to look very far in the news clippings these days of examples of that in different parts of businesses, in government, just all manner of examples. Some of the examples might be at Baylor University just in the last couple of weeks with all of the changes that have happened in the wake of the allegations of the wrongdoing there at Baylor. Someone decided to look the other way for a short-term gain of money and notoriety from an athletic program as opposed to doing the right thing. My opinion, but that's what it looks like from here when we see some of the comments. So, my thoughts are that a good manager needs to build solid relationships, and they need to do so in a 360-degree way. And what I mean by that is, first of all, a manager is going to build relationships with those people who report to them. Building that solid relationship and understanding that your employees that report to you are individuals. There are certain characteristics of each individual that as a manager you'll need to know to make your communication with that individual more effective. Understand what motivates that particular employee. It may be different than another employee, and you'll have to potentially approach problems or performance or even challenges and stretch objectives differently with each employee. A good manager is not going to know how to do that if they haven't built the relationship to the point that they understand what motivates an employee or how they take instruction or how they take criticism. Does somebody that you have to coach, do they have a tendency to get upset when they're corrected or performance management or corrective action is taken? Only relationship building on the manager's part will be able to help them answer that question. In addition, a manager needs to build relationships with their peers, understanding what's going on in the other managers within their department or other managers in other divisions of their organization. As we've all learned in life, it helps to overcome individual issues that we're facing if we simply know we're not alone, that we're not the only one facing those issues. Collaboration can also be a very good tool toward the resolution of conflict or the overcoming of obstacles that are standing in the way of you reaching your objective. Now, lastly, those relationships need to be built with the manager's boss and their boss and all the way up the organizational chain. Advancement from a manager's point of view oftentimes happens as a result of the relationships and the networking that they have done with people above them. Mentor relationships or relationships for information gathering and sharing. So those relationships have to be established for the future growth of the manager. even if someone is wanting to just stay in the role that they're in, they still need to grow. They still need to evolve in their position, or will become stagnant, and the manager will grow just bored, really, quite frankly, in their job, and they'll just sort of accept status quo rather than continue to drive to reach those objectives that will further the company's success as well. So in conclusion, let me just say that I think the best trait for a manager to have is someone who has the capability of building relationships in a 360-degree pattern around them, their subordinates, their peers, and their superiors. I hope you find some of these comments helpful in understanding a little bit from Chapter 1. And I know right now you're in the throes of Chapters 2 and 3 and the writing of your first written assignment that is due this coming Sunday. So I hope that these videos throughout the rest of the semester you will find helpful in preparation for your exams and papers. I look forward to reading your next discussion board posts and producing another video for you next week. Have a super fantastic day, and we'll see you online.